All right, so let me paint you a picture. Imagine this. You finally save up enough, make all the sacrifices, and buy what you think is your dream home, right? New life, new neighborhood, happy husband, maybe a glass of wine on the back porch, and peace, finally peace. Well, let me tell you, peace lasted about as long as an ice cube on a Texas sidewalk in July. So here's how it started. My husband John and I, we were all butterflies and high fives the day we moved in. He's a writer, works from home, loves the view. So the second we saw the garden through that big office window, his eyes lit up like Christmas morning. And me, I'm a county sheriff, and after wrangling with the wild side of humanity all day, I just wanted a place that felt safe, calm, normal. We spent that first weekend unpacking, dancing around boxes, and dreaming of the good life, thinking, this is it. This is our slice of paradise. Well, cue the horror movie soundtrack, because Monday morning everything changed. There was this knock. No, knock isn't the word. It was more like someone was trying to break the sound barrier with their fist. I opened the door, and standing there was this guy. Let's call him Mr. Henderson. Picture a red-faced, too-tight polo-wearing, clipboard-clutching storm cloud of a man. Not a hi, not a welcome, just bam! He says, "I'm Mr. Henderson, president of the Homeowners Association." As if that title meant he was the king and we were the peasants. He points at our moving boxes stacked perfectly by the garage, mind you, and says, "Those are a violation of Bylaw 7, Section C. Remove them immediately." No congrats on the house, no pie, not even a handshake, just doom and bylaws. Then he spun on his heel and marched off like he'd just delivered the 10 Commandments. I was still standing there with the door open, and John comes up behind me, eyes wide. "Who was that?" I said. "Babe, I think we just met the fun police." We figured it was just a weird first impression. Maybe he was having a bad day. Oh, were we naive? Because the next morning there's a paper slipped under our door. A formal warning, like we're kids, in detention. Our violation this time. The garden hose. Not the garden hose is in the yard. No, it wasn't coiled in a regulation manner. I mean, come on. Is there an Olympic committee for hoses I didn't know about? A couple days later, another notice, this time our welcome mat, the one John's mom made us, was an unapproved decorative item. I started to think this guy wasn't just obsessed with rules, he had a vendetta. So I started asking around. Our neighbors, who by the way are all lovely folks, everyone's got the same complaint. This HOA is strict, but what we're getting, that's special treatment, and not the good kind. Sweet old Mrs. Gable, who bakes the kind of pies that make you forget your troubles, whispers over the fence. He's been on a power trip since he was elected. He enjoys making people miserable. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about boxes or hoses or mats. Mr. Henderson liked being the big fish in a very small pond, and he decided John and I were the latest pond scum. The notices got even pettier. Wind chimes, noise pollution. The tiny American flag I stuck in a flower pot for Memorial Day unauthorized patriotic display. Every day felt like a new episode of Gotcha. I tried being reasonable, called him up to talk like adults. Soon as I introduced myself, he cut me off. "Sheriff, your job doesn't give you special treatment here. In this community, my rules are the law. Follow them or there will be consequences." You could practically hear the cape fluttering behind him. I'll be honest, this was getting under my skin. John was losing his mind. He's pacing the kitchen, muttering, "This is insane, Sarah. We can't live like this. The guy's watching us like Big Brother." And he was right. Every time we stepped outside, I caught that glint of a curtain twitching or saw that portly silhouette lurking, clipboard in hand. The last straw. It came after a brutal 48-hour shift. I come home, all I want is to grill a couple burgers in my own backyard with my husband. Just us, the grill, the sound of wind chimes, life as it should be. We're back there minding our own business when suddenly there's shouting out front. I go around, and there's Henderson standing on the sidewalk, phone pressed to his ear, giving a performance that would have made Broadway jealous. "Yes, send officers immediately. There's a major disturbance. Loud music, wild party. I think there might be illegal substances. Yes, number 24. I swear I looked behind me like, is he talking about us? Our 2-person barbecue is apparently spring break gone wild." He catches my eye and smirks. Oh, that smug look. The kind of look that says, "I win." Checkmate. He thought he was about to watch us get dragged off by the very police I work with every single day, only he had no clue what was coming. Not 5 minutes later, 2 patrol cars roll up, lights flashing. Out step Deputy Miller and Deputy Sanchez, good officers, good people, and more importantly, my people. They're all business as they walk up, and Henderson's practically skipping over, finger pointed at me. That's her. That's the troublemaker. Miller and Sanchez look past him and see me, and their faces go from cop serious to grinning like they've just won the lottery. Sheriff Miller says, coming in for a side hug. What are you doing here? We got a call about a wild party. The color just drains from Henderson's face faster than a cheap hair dye in the rain. Sheriff, you mean like the sheriff? He stammers. I smile, calm and easy. That's right, Mr. Henderson. This is my house. And then for the first time since we moved in, I felt completely at home. I told Miller and Sanchez, there's no party, gentlemen. But it seems Mr. Henderson here made a false report. Sanchez, God bless him, pulls out his notepad and says, another false report, sir. You know, that's a serious offense, right? You could see the gears grinding in Henderson's head, trying to backpedal. There was music, I thought, but all his words just died on his lips. By then, a crowd was gathering. Neighbors out on porches peeking from windows. Mrs. Gable gave me a proud little thumbs up from her swing. It was like the whole block had been waiting for this showdown. I turned to Henderson, my voice low but steady. You've been harassing us since day one. You've abused your position, and now you've crossed the line with a malicious false police report. This ends now. This public humiliation is a hell of a thing, folks. The deputies wrote him up for making a false report, hit him with a fine, and the cherry on top, everybody saw it. For a guy who lived for power, that was the ultimate kryptonite. But here's the twist. See, when someone is that obsessed with control, you gotta ask yourself, what else is he hiding? So I suggested to a few neighbors quietly over a few slices of Mrs. Gable's pecan pie, maybe it's time for a real audit of the HOA books. Turns out my cop instincts were spot on. The investigation opened up a can of worms, years of financial shenanigans. Henderson and a couple of his buddies had been lining their pockets, handing out cushy contracts to friends, skimming off dues. It was like finding mold behind fresh paint. The whole board got swept out, replaced with actual human beings, including Mrs. Gable herself. The silly rules gone. The welcome mat came back. The wind chimes sang again. And for the first time since we moved in, I slept like a rock. Looking back, I gotta say, sometimes peace isn't something you're given. Sometimes you have to fight for it tooth and nail, even in your own backyard. And sometimes karma comes with a badge and a side of barbecue. But you know what the real kicker is? The lesson that hits hardest power, if you hand it to the wrong person, will always rot from the inside out. It can turn a nice neighborhood into a nightmare, friends into enemies, rules into weapons. But one little spark, one person who refuses to roll over can turn the whole thing on its head. So yeah, now when I hear the wind chimes, when I see John out there writing, when I smell barbecue and not fear, I know we earned every bit of it. And Henderson? Well, last I heard, he's busy learning about rules from his own lawyer. Poetic, isn't it? Makes you wonder, though, where's the line between keeping order and becoming the tyrant? Who polices the police when the badge isn't gold but a clipboard? And how many Hendersons are out there running little empires off borrowed power? I'd love to hear what you think. Have you ever run into someone like this, a self-appointed king of the block, the office, the PTA? How did you handle it? Where's the line for you? When does just following the rules cross over into something uglier? Drop your stories below. Let's talk about it. Because at the end of the day, sometimes the only way to keep your peace is to raise a little hell.